Imagine the deepest silence you can think of. Not just, quiet, but a chosen silence, a sacred silence.
Right, like high in the mountains, totally removed from everything.
Exactly, a place dedicated to stillness. Now imagine that silence being shattered violently.
Hmm.
And what if that moment, that horrific breaking of silence, wasn't just over? What if it got imprinted, stuck?
You printed onto the place itself,
Yeah.
yeah, like the echoes just never, ever faded.
To the point where the place itself screams
I think,
forever.
which brings us to the Himalayas, pithorgarh district specifically, Uttarakhand, India.
And a place known pretty ominously as the Screaming Caves.
Yeah, not exactly subtle, is it? It's not just geology, it's history, myth, and some really, really creepy documented encounters.
And that's what we're diving into today. We've got this collection of accounts, details about these caves, ancient curses, rubbing shoulders with like modern live stream horror.
It's quite the mix. Ancient texts, colonial reports, paranormal investigations, even YouTube streams.
So our mission here is to sift through all this, unpack the history as it's presented, look at the legends, analyze these modern reports. What do these sources actually tell us about this place?
And maybe try to figure out why it seems to hold on to pain, onto suffering, almost like it's, I don't know, physically part of the rock.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of place holds trauma for centuries? And how does that trauma manifest? Is it just an echo? Is it something aware?
The sources, well, they don't give easy answers. They suggest something much, much stranger, something blurring lines between rock biology and ghosts.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Way back, 12th century.
Right, Kali Kuman, the region was called then. And before the screams, the caves had this very different name, the Deri of the Silent Ones.
Dairy of the Silent Ones. Sounds peaceful. Serene, even.
Totally. It was a sanctuary. Tantric monks came here for the quiet, for the stillness. Their whole path involved extreme dedication, vows of eternal silence.
Wow, imagine that. Years, maybe decades of just pure quiet inside these caves.
A place built on and dedicated to silence.
And then darkness arrives, violently. 1193 AD. A warlord named Rakshasa Singh.
Yeah, the name itself kind of gives it away. Rakshasa means demon or evil spirit in Sanskrit. Not a good sign.
He launches this brutal invasion, and he targets the caves specifically.
Sees them as a spiritual center, not just a place to hide. And what happens next is, well, it's the foundation for everything, the core horror.
He didn't just conquer, he did something awful to the monks himself.
He slaughtered them brutally. But then the sources say he used their severed tongues
Oh, man.
in a black magic ritual to summon the goddess Kali, her fury specifically.
The violation there is just staggering. Taking the organs of speech from men sworn to silence, using them to call a deity, it's unbelievably perverse.
It's the ultimate desecration, isn't it? A twisted understanding of the power in that place, in that silence. And according to the legend, it worked. Kali appeared.
And this is where the curse comes in. Specific, powerful, tied right to what he did.
Absolutely. Her words, as the texts record them, are chilling. Since you have stolen their silence, let their screams live forever in these stones.
Let their screams live forever in these stones. Wow. The poetic justice is stark. You stole silence, you get eternal screams. Not just as a sound, but part of the place itself.
Cosmic horror territory right there. The physical reality of the place is altered. The pain is baked into the rock.
And the proof was immediate and horrific. The next morning, Rakshasa Singh's army.
They're found, petrified,
Ah.
turned to stone at the cave entrance, frozen mid-scream, fused to the rock face.
Fused to the rock, so the army becomes part of the structure that holds the screams of their victims. It's grotesque.
You can see their silent agony, forever etched in stone, but you can't hear them. They're embodying the silent scream while the caves hold the audible ones.
It ties right back to the curse. They stole silence, now they are eternally silent, trapped in stone, fused to the very place cursed by their actions.
It suggests the curse wasn't just, like, bad luck. It physically changed matter, turned living beings into rock.
What does that even mean, biologically or physically? Becoming stone, it blurs all the lines, organic, inorganic, life, rock.
Exactly. It sets up the idea that the caves aren't just caves anymore. There's something else, something monstrous made of suffering.
Okay, let's jump forward. Centuries later, the British colonial era, 1862.
Right, the legend probably persisted locally, people likely avoided it, but then we get the first sort of documented modern encounter from an outsider, Sir Edmund Holloway, a geologist.
A geologist. So approaching it scientifically, presumably, looking at rocks, formations.
You'd think so. But he found something geology couldn't explain. He heard the screams himself, a chorus of human agony, he called it.
And he noted the timing, right? That specific window.
Yes, between 2:33 a.m. and 3:16 a.m. Every night he was near there.
Which, if the legends are right, is supposedly the exact time the monks were slaughtered centuries before.
It makes it feel less like a random echo and more like a replay, a temporal loop stuck on that moment of horror.
But Holloway said it wasn't just an echo, did he? He said something weirder.
Yeah, this is key. He said it wasn't bouncing off walls predictably. He described it as living presence, something that followed you, felt like it was, and this is his phrase, breathing down your neck.
Breathing down your neck. Okay, that's different. That's not acoustics. That sounds sentient, or at least interactive.
Exactly. An echo is passive. This felt active, maybe aware, like the stone itself wasn't just holding the sound, but generating it, directing it.
And his team found physical evidence too, didn't they? Things inside the caves.
They did. Disturbing things. Handprints burned into the rock walls.
Burned in.
Yeah, seared in. And weirdly high up, impossible heights for a person to reach.
Okay, so not human marks. Burned suggests energy, heat. Impossible heights suggest, well, something not bound by gravity in the usual way, maybe connected to those shadow figures we'll get to.
Could be. It points to something non-human, something powerful. And then there was the throne.
A throne.
A natural stone formation looked like a throne.
Yeah.
And it was covered in bloodstains, old bloodstains. They dated them to roughly 700 years old.
700 years. Right back to the 12th century. To Rakshasa Singh's time. Whose throne, whose blood, his. The monks.
We don't know for sure, but the timing connects Holloway's modern discovery directly to the original atrocity. It grounds the legend in something physical, something tangible.
And there was one more thing, wasn't there? A tunnel?
Right, a tunnel leading deeper in to a chamber where the air itself vibrated, with what he called unspoken words, not sound, but like a physical vibration carrying something, meaning energy.
Unspoken words vibrating in the air, that's deeply weird. Trapped thoughts? The energy of the final moments, or the caves trying to communicate in some other way.
It adds another layer of strangeness. It's not just sound, it's energy, maybe consciousness trapped or manifesting there.
But Holloway's investigation didn't end well for him.
No, it didn't. He apparently went mad afterwards, specifically tormented by hearing his dead wife's voice among the screams.
His wife's voice. So the horror is personalized. It finds your specific pain, your loss, and uses it.
Yeah, it suggests something intelligent enough or tapped in enough to know your grief and weaponize it. It's not just generic screaming, it's tailored torment.
And then he just vanished.
Disappeared inside the caves, never seen again. But there's this one last detail so chilling. His pocket watch.
The watch.
Apparently, it's still ticking somewhere in there, faintly. Sometimes picked up on audio recordings left near the entrance.
Wow. That tiny tick-tock against all those screams. A little bit of human time lost in that awful eternal agony.
A tragic little footnote.
Yeah.
And proof that the horror definitely wasn't just ancient history.
Which brings us to more recent times. The curse, the presence, whatever it is, it's still active, still dangerous.
Yeah. The contemporary accounts show it's very much an ongoing thing. Take the 2008 case. A team of paranormal investigators.
Going in with all the modern tech, right?
Yeah.
Recorders, cameras, thermal, thinking they could capture it, maybe explain it.
They captured something all right. Their audio recorders picked up whispers, disembodied whispers. But get this. They were reciting lines from the Mahakali Tantra, the sacred text for Kali, the goddess of the curse, but reciting it backward.
Backward. Okay, that's deliberately twisted. Pure blasphemy, echoing the original desecration. Suggests something actively malevolent connected to the curse.
And the visuals. Shadow figures. But not just standing there. They were reportedly crawling on the ceiling and walls. Like insects.
Crawling like insects. Ugh. That image is pure nightmare fuel. Unnatural movement, defying gravity in human form. Matches those high-up handprints, maybe.
It's deeply unsettling. And then the temperature drops.
Right, the thermal readings.
Extreme drops. Minus 40 degrees Celsius in spots, which is basically impossible naturally at that altitude.
Minus 40. That suggests a massive energy drain. Something pulling heat out of the air to manifest or act. Points to something incredibly powerful.
The team got out, understandably. But it wasn't over for the lead investigator, Dr. Ananya Desai.
What happened to her?
Nightmares filled with the screams for weeks. But then it got worse. She started hearing her own voice in the chorus of screams.
Her own voice. Added to the mix. So the caves collect voices, absorb them somehow.
That's the horrifying implication. It's not just mimicry. It's acquisition. They take a piece of you, your sound, and add it to the eternal suffering. maybe marks you,
And her story ends badly.
tragically. Found dead 3 months later in her bathtub. But her vocal cords, they've been surgically removed and arranged in a mandala pattern on her mirror.
Vocal cords removed, just like the monks' tongues. That ritualistic symmetry is terrifying. A cycle of silencing and violation.
It suggests the core horror, the connection to speech and silence, is still active, still playing out.
Okay, fast forward again, 2021, the age of viral content.
Enter J.H. Fearless Patel, a YouTuber known for exploring dangerous haunted places. He decided to live stream himself, spending 7 hours inside the screening caves.
Bringing ancient horror to a live online audience, what could possibly go wrong?
Right, so the stream starts normally, exploring bit of bravado. Then it's 02:33 a.m., precisely Holloway's documented start time for the screams.
It begins.
The first clear scream on the stream. But it wasn't just agony, it was a child's voice, crying, "Mummy!"
Oh, that's cruel. Using a child's cry for its mother, maximum emotional manipulation designed to bypass any defense.
Shows intelligence, doesn't it? Knowing exactly how to inflict psychological terror.
Then what happened?
At 03:17 a.m., the end of Holloway's documented scream window, Jace's flashlight hits the wall and reveals a face forming in the rock.
A face in the rock.
His own face. But aged horribly, like 70 years older, solidifying out of the stone itself.
Like the petrified army, the caves showing him his potential fate, becoming part of the stone, trapped and aged.
That's exactly what it feels like. A warning, a glimpse of what happens if you stay, if you're consumed.
And the stream didn't end well.
No, it cut out abruptly at 04:44 a.m. The camera dropped. Sounds of him being dragged, seemingly by something unseen, into a side tunnel. Then, nothing. Silence.
Dragged away. Physically taken. So it's not just sounds and visions, there's a physical danger.
Absolutely. And his body.
Huh.
Never found.
That there's a sort of postscript sightings?
Yeah, trekkers, locals, they sometimes report seeing a figure that looks like him, wearing the clothes from the stream, standing silently at the cave entrance, just mouth moving soundlessly.
Soundlessly, like the petrified army, maybe he became one of them. A silent screamer at the threshold, a modern addition to the horror.
It fits the terrifying pattern, doesn't it?
Okay, so we have all these accounts, this consistent horror across centuries. But what are these caves? We mentioned a palm leaf manuscript.
Right, an old text that apparently offers a truly bizarre foundational explanation. Reframes everything.
What does it say?
It says, quite starkly, the caves are not hollow. They are the petrified lungs of Rakshasa Singh's army. The screams are not echoes, but the actual dying breaths of the monks, trapped in stone forever.
Whoa, hold on. The caves are lungs, petrified lungs, made of the army.
That's the claim. The army fused together, becoming this massive stone physiological structure. The caves are their stone lungs.
And the screams are actual dying breaths, trapped inside.
Literal final exhalations of agony, held and perpetually expelled by this stone respiratory system. Not echoes, not ghosts in the traditional sense, but the physical sound of death trapped in rock.
That's biologically impossible, geologically impossible. It's body horror on a landscape scale. Stone being lungs.
It's utterly horrifying. But the manuscript claims that this explains the phenomena. Like, why no two people hear the same screams?
How so?
If the stone lungs are vast and complex, made of countless soldiers holding countless monks' breaths, maybe different visitors are exposed to different parts, different trapped breaths, which allows for that personalized torment, tailoring the horror to the individual.
Okay, I can sort of see the twisted logic there. And the recording device is failing after 3:17 a.m.
The manuscript says the caves consume sound. 3:17 a.m. is the peak scream time, maybe the peak of the exhale. Perhaps during this cycle, they also absorb energy sound, electronic from the environment, silencing the outside while screaming from within.
Consuming sound. And the physical effect. The stone cough.
Hacking up granite dust for months after visiting. If the caves are stone lungs and they're breathing out dust and trapped agony, visitors are literally inhaling the substance of the place.
Breathing in the stone lung dust.
Exactly. Causes a reaction in your lungs, a physical contamination. The horror gets inside you, literally.
This manuscript, it changes everything. It's not just haunted. It's a monstrous living, well, sort of living, entity made of death and rock.
It elevates it beyond ghosts. It's cosmic horror fused with, body horror. The landscape itself is the monster.
So if this is the reality, how do you survive it? You mentioned the sources give advice.
Amazingly, yes. A section called How to Survive If You Enter. Specific rules.
Okay, let's hear the DOs first. What are you supposed to do?
First, wear copper jewelry. It supposedly disrupts the cave's memory or energy.
Copper, conductivity. Maybe it interferes with the energy field, scrambles the signal of the screams or the personalized targeting.
That's the thinking, yeah, like grounding the bad vibes, maybe. Second, carry a bag of salt. The screams apparently fear purification.
Salt for purification, warding off evil. That's classic folklore. So the energy is seen as impure, negative. Salt creates protective barrier. Makes sense in that context.
Uh-huh. And third, chant Om Namah Shivaya. It's supposedly the only mantra that works, silencing them briefly.
Om Namah Shivaya, dedicated to Shiva, the destroyer of evil. Maybe its specific vibration counters the cursed energy, or invokes a power that can override the caves.
Possibly. A specific sacred sound against the sound of eternal agony.
All right, those are the DOs. What about the don'ts? What guarantees a bad time?
First, don't shine light upward. The warning is blunt. You'll see what's crawling above you.
Connects right back to those insect-like shadow figures. So they're real, they're up there, and looking at them is bad, invites their attention. Best to just not look up.
Seems wise. Second, and this one is insidious, don't speak names aloud inside.
Why not?
Because, the sources say, the caves add them to their chorus.
So that's how they get the voices. Like Dr. Desai's, speaking a name gives them the data, the identity.
Exactly. It's the input mechanism for their horrifying collection. You literally give them the name to add to the screams. Chillingly efficient.
Okay. Never speak names. Got it. What's the last don't?
Don't stay past 3.7 a.m., because that's when the stone lungs exhale.
The peak time. The end of the main scream cycle. Staying past that means you're there for the full, most intense exhalation of horror, when consumption is most likely.
Right. It's like staying for the toxic climax. Get out before the system hits its peak output.
These rules. They paint a picture of an active predatory place, not just haunted, but with systems, vulnerabilities, and traps.
It operates on its own nightmare logic, doesn't it? A blend of curse, trauma, energy manipulation, something truly alien.
And the most recent stuff suggests it's not even staying the same. It's changing, evolving.
Yeah, the epilogue notes are deeply creepy. They show it's not just repeating the past, it's adding new layers of horror.
Like what?
2023, just last year, a new tunnel supposedly appeared. Just wasn't there before. And the walls weren't rock or dirt. They were lined with teeth.
Teeth. Growing out of the walls? Oh, that's just viscerally wrong. Biological horror merging with the stone. Is it growing? Consuming things and incorporating them?
Who knows? But it suggests active, grotesque change. Growth. Then, 2024, this year, shepherds near the entrance reported hearing something new mixed in with the usual screams.
What now?
Modern Hindi swear words.
Swear words, so it's learning, adapting, picking up modern sounds, modern anger and pain, and adding that to the ancient agony.
That's the disturbing implication. The chorus isn't just ancient, it's updating, becoming contemporary.
That makes it feel closer, more immediate. And there's one more recent thing, something about a Fitbit.
Yeah, strangest one yet, maybe. A trekker died near the caves. His Fitbit, his fitness tracker, apparently kept recording his heartbeat for 7 hours after he was officially dead.
7 hours post-mortem. How is that even possible? Residual energy, the cave holding on to a life signal. Does it relate to the trapped breaths?
It's baffling. Another layer of weird biomechanical something that defies explanation. The cave's influence extending even past death, maybe.
So putting it all together, ancient curse, petrified army lungs breathing monks' dying screams, British geologist madness, modern tech capturing backward whispers and ceiling crawlers, YouTubers getting dragged away, survival rules based on copper and salt, and now evolving horrors like teeth walls and learning swear words.
It's an absolutely insane tapestry of horror, isn't it? A place where stone breeds agony, history consumes the present, and the lines between rock, life, death, and sound just completely dissolve.
It really pushes you to think about places holding memory, about curses, about energy. How can a place become so saturated with suffering? And how does it affect anyone who gets close?
The stone cough. Hearing your own voice. It suggests the effect isn't just psychological. The place changes you, physically, fundamentally.
The screaming caves challenge everything we think we know about, well, places. They're not just a setting, they are the horror embodied.
Which leads us to the final warning from the sources. The one that really gets under your skin, building on that idea of mimicking voices.
This one.
Yeah, this one's tough.
The final warning is simple. If you hear your mother calling your name from inside the caves, do not answer. That's how the caves learn to mimic living voices.
Do not answer, even if it's the voice you trust most in the world, calling your name from that darkness.
What would you do? That instinct to respond. But that one word, that answer, might be the key the caves need to learn you, to add your living voice to their dead chorus. Something to definitely think about, especially if you ever find yourself near a place where the echoes sound just a little too real